Hey, welcome back to the Crabby Dice. Today we're going to be looking at World's Fair 1893. And as you can tell from the title, the theme to this game is we're going to the World's Fair that was in 1893. We're going to be sending out our supporters to the different regions, trying to get reputation to score the most points in the game. Alright, well it is a lightweight family style drafting game, so it's sort of themeless, but it's actually really good. So this is going to be the setup and rules video. Click on the link below for my review and playthrough. And three things before we start: please like, subscribe, and comment on my YouTube channel. That would be fantastic. Let's get started. Alright, let's start the setup by putting together a Ferris wheel. It comes in two pieces and both have a player count written on it, so they're double-sided. Play on the correct side for the number of players. So here I'll simulate a 3-player game. Next, you can get your 5 area tiles here. Just mix them up and put them around the Ferris wheel. Something like that. Next, you have your little card put on the start space here, and then you have your round tracker, which is this red marker. You're going to put it on the number 1. Alright, next, give each player their 22 support cubes here, and they're going to put 1 on each of the 5 areas around the Ferris wheel. Okay, next you're going to figure out who first, second, and third player is. You're going to have these starting bonus cards here. So 1, 2, 3, and 4. If you're not playing 4 players, just toss this back in the box. But you'll give each player one of these, and it'll tell you any bonuses that they get. So the region that they'll have an extra cube is written on the card. So for example, purple will get 1 on the manufacturing, yellow will get 1 on transportation and agriculture, and blue will get 1 on transportation and fine arts. Alright, and there you go. We're almost ready to go. Lastly, what you're going to want to do is you have your ginormous deck of cards here, and if you're playing with 4 or 2 players, there are some cards you need to take out of the deck, but I am simulating a 3-player game, so I'll have all the cards in the deck. And what you're going to do is you're going to flip over 2 cards per region. Alright, and there you go. We're ready to start. Let's go to the rules. Alright, welcome to the rules breakdown for World's Fair. So this is a pretty simple sort of drafting style and area majority game with a bit of set collection. So what you're going to do on your turn, there's a set structure you need to follow. You can add a token to the board, and that region will tell you which cards you're going to draft. So I can add a token here to end up drafting these ones, and so on and so on, and each card stands for something different that you'll sort of use during the scoring phase. Alright, just a couple of notes before we go into player turns and scoring. When you draft the card, nothing's actually hidden information in this game. What you end up doing is you play the cards in front of you so everyone knows what's going on. And the way the game works is this marker is going to end up doing a rotation of the wheel, and when it hits back the base here, you're going to end up having a scoring round, which you're going to move this marker to the scoring round. Then after you score, you'll go to the next round. So the game's going to last exactly 3 rounds, and after 3 rounds you'll have your third scoring here. Calculate who has the most points, and whoever has the most is going to win the game. Alright, so let's go into the 2 types of rounds in the game. So there's the player rounds, and then there's the scoring rounds. Alright, let's just go through a typical player turn. So on your turn, you're going to follow the same 5 steps every single time. Alright, so make sure to follow along. So the first thing you're going to do is take one of your supporter cubes and place it in any of the 5 regions. Basically, the region that you place it in will tell you which cards you're going to end up drafting. Okay. Just as a side note, if you do run out of supporter cubes, you get to move one that you already have on the board to a different region. Okay, so I can either place my cube here, but let's just say I really like those cards. For whatever reason, I would put it here. So that's step 1. Step 2 is if you picked up any influential figure cards on the previous round, you must play them. Alright, these cards never carry over from round to round. You must play them on your following turn no matter what. Okay, and after you play them, they get discarded to the discard pile. Alright, now they all come in 4 different, they all have either 4 different icons in the top left, and they're pretty simple. So if you see the plus with a down arrow, it means take one of your supporter cubes and add it to the same region you just played a cube into. The one with the dotted line with the arrows on the side is very similar. It's add a cube to a region to the left or right of that region where you place the token. Just as a side note also, these two regions are not next to each other. So if you played your token here, you have to place your other token here. You don't have a choice. Okay. The arrows here means take any cube on the board and move it to another region. So it could be an opponent's piece as well. And the last type here is a plus with a region that tells you specifically which region you must add a token to. So in this case, it would be transportation. All right, but that's step 2. Place your play your influential person card, and after you play them, it gets discarded to the discard pile. All right, step 3 is actually drafting your cards. So because I put my token here, I'm going to draft these cards. All right. Step 4 is moving the cart around the Ferris wheel. So what you're going to do is for every admit 1 card you drafted, you'll move the cart 1 space. Because I drafted 1, I'll move it once. If you drafted 4, you'll move it 4 times, and so on and so on. All right, and the last thing you're going to do on your turn is you're going to always take 3 cards from the top of the deck, and you're going to sort of refill the board. All right, so starting with the spot where you drafted your cards is you're going to fill up 3 cards going clockwise. So you're going to put 1, 2, 3. Now, you are going to skip spots depending on if the region is full, and you're going to tell that by if there's triangles here, which means you can have at most 3 cards in this region, and there's also squares, which means you can have at most 4 cards in that region. All right, so if you need to fill up a spot and it's already full, for example, yellow is full, so let's say the next player drafted these cards here, then you have to add 3 cards. You go 1, 2, you'll skip that spot, and you'll go 4. Alright, so there you go. Those are the 5 steps. So you're going to keep doing those 5 steps over and over again until this cart does a full rotation. Alright, as soon as it ends up back at the base over here, even if it went much further, it'll always stop at the base here. You'll do a scoring round. Alright, next we're going to talk about the scoring. Alright, where I will actually talk about the different types of cards and why you might draft one over another. Alright, so the first thing you're going to do in scoring is actually score your midway cards. Alright, so for each midway card that was drafted in that round, so while this marker was going around the Ferris wheel, you're going to gain 1 coin from the supply. Alright, so if you had 4 cards, you get 4 coins. Now, whoever had the most is going to get a bonus +2. So let's say blue had the most with 4, they would get 6 coins from the supply, and then everyone would discard all their midway admit 1 cards. Okay, next we're going to score all the 5 regions on the board, and they all score exactly the same way, and that's when you're going to use these scoring phase cards according to the correct number of players. So if you're playing 3 players, you're going to use this card because there's a 3 in the top right, and if you're playing 4, there's a different card. Alright, and for each of the 5 regions, you're just going to follow this. Alright, so whoever has the most cubes in that region is going to get a 4-point medal, and whoever is second most is going to get a 2-point medal, and then there's going to be indicators here on what happens on a tie for first and for second. Okay, so for example here, let's score fine arts first. So yellow has the most, so they're going to get a 4-point chit or medal, and blue would be second place, so they'll get a 2-point medal. And purple will get nothing. Now, what these boxes on the right mean is that you can discard up to that many of that region cards to pick up the tokens for set collection at the end of the game. For example, let's say yellow had 2 of these red cards in their tableau. They can discard these 2 because it's up to 3, so you can discard 1, 2, or 3. So he's going to discard 2 to get 2 of these tokens and put it in their supply. Alright, now if blue was in second and had 3 of those cards, well, too bad, they can only exchange 1 of those cards for 1 of the tokens. Alright, and you'll do the exact same thing for all 5 regions. So let's say for this region here, blue would get the 4-point medal, purple would get the 2-point medal, and then blue would have the opportunity to exchange 1 to 3 of their cards for the tokens, and purple would be able to exchange only 1 for a token. Alright, and you do that for all 5 regions. Alright, after you score that, what you have to do is for all the regions again, you need to start removing support tokens. So for every 2 tokens you have, you need to remove 1. Alright, so you can think of it's divided by 2 rounded down. So let's say it's go through all these regions one at a time. So yellow would have to remove 1, blue would have to remove 1, blue would have to remove 1, purple would have to move 1, purple would have to move 2, yellow would have to move 1. And just do that for all the regions here. These 2 will get removed. Okay, when all that's done, you're pretty much done scoring. You're just going to go to the next round. Now, the start player for the following round will just continue in turn order from where you left off. So let's say blue had the last action, which triggered the scoring because he was the one that moved this onto the base over here. Then it would go to the next player, which would be purple, and you would just go again, moving this around. When it is a full rotation again, do another scoring. Do that for 3 rounds. And that's it. Alright, the last thing to talk about is just endgame scoring. And for that, I just pulled up some examples that somebody might have at the end of the game here. So let's say you collected all these chits at the end of the game. What you're going to do is follow this set collection map over here and score again. Alright, so for every complete set of tokens, you're going to score 15 points. And you're just going to work your way down if you don't have the complete set. So let's say I would score 15 for this set here. Now then my next set is missing 1, so that's going to score me 10 points. So in total here I have 25 so far. And now I have a set of 2, which is going to be 3 points. So that's 28. And then I have a set of 1, which is 1 point, so 29. So all of this would be 29 points. You add that to all the coins and medals you calculated during the game. So these are interchangeable. They're all stand for points. And you would have your total. You compare that to the other players. Whoever has the most is going to win the game. Alright, that's pretty simple. Click on the link below to see my review and playthrough, or we'll see you on the next one. Later.